Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. Today will be another paint rescue. This will probably end up being one of the most dramatic paint rescues we've had on the channel. This is a 1963 rear-engined Chevy Corvair supercar. Not quite a supercar, but it is unique. I've always liked the look of these for some reason. I always like the oddball cars. And with the carburetors, if you know these cars, the carburetors are hard to dial in. But once you do, these are sweet little rides. The paint has not been touched for over 50 years. How about we just jump into it and get started? Before we do, if you notice there's something just a little off or a little odd, well, there is. Let's take a closer look. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. This is only a third of a 1963 Chevy Corvair. Why is there only a piece of the car in the shop? Complete, by the way, with the axle, the wheels, and even the gas pedal and brake and wiring harness and every wet reservoir. Hey, we can switch to high beams if we need to see a little bit better. Filler cap with a bird's nest. So what am I doing with this? This actually is going to be a toolbox. You can also use these as a unique cooler chest for your cold beverages. And let me show you exactly why I picked this and what we're going to do with it. So after it's cleaned up, we are going to get the lights working and put them on a switch. So that'll really look neat. So this will be a toolbox that you can lock. Solid in here. All we need to do is clean it out. Being a rear-engined vehicle, you have all of this space in the frunk. We're going to clean this out, line it, and use it as a toolbox. Get the lights working. So positioning of this is going to be important, and what we do with the background. We are going to scoot this little bugger against the wall over here, and we're going to push it straight up, tight against the wall, and then paint a windshield with maybe the shop manager hanging out the window and maybe somebody waving out the driver's side window. And that will be a cool little toolbox for us, but could be a cooler or whatever your imagination can come up with, and put to use the good part of this 63 Corvair. I'm not sure if there was a title issue or maybe the back was completely wrecked, but this was the good portion of the Corvair. And this is what we're going to do with it. Let's start with cleaning it up. And I'm sorry, whoever Diane was, we're going to have to remove that. And then we'll give it a quick wash, clean it. We're going to refresh the paint. We're going to polish it a bit. These weren't driving around, guys, looking like the mirror image cars that are driving around today. So we don't want to make it perfect. We want these blemishes in the paint. Maybe I'll touch some of them up. I'm thinking maybe not. Just clean off the sap. Maybe touch up some areas. But for the most part, we just want to get a nice little shine, see what works to bring this paint back to life. This is, of course, single stage, and keep the correction within its time period, so to speak, if you know what I mean. We're going to clean up the chrome. We will get the lights working. Just taking out the bulbs for the back of these lights. We even got the horns left here. And then putting our own choice, maybe just grabbing a strand of white Christmas lights and sticking the bulbs from that strand in the back of these. You can drill a hole in the back of these headlights once the gas escapes, and you're careful. You can shove a light in the back and we'll get a little bit of illumination from these lights. Let's get started with just a quick wash to get the dirt from the salvage yard off of there. Many, many years of sitting. Obviously, no need to break out the foam gun and go through all that craziness. We just want to blast off some of this loose stuff, grab an old mitt from one of my older buckets, and just get it as clean as we can before we do some correction, clean up the chrome and the trim here. Let me get this plate off first. There we go. Sorry, Diane. This was probably your cherished ride at some point. We will put it to good use for you. Cheers. Okay. The tool's out of the way. Let's just use the washer here to blast any bonded contaminants. Well, I'm liking how everything's cleaning up nice, just blasting it off. Nice. Progress already. Okay, well, plenty of tread left, even wear. Tires not dry rotted? Oh, we got many miles. All right, so let's use the Ebola Solutions. Well, we'll use the iron remover on the wheels, why not? Let that eat away at some of the ferrous metals. We got the wheel and tire cleaner. Well, that trigger is not working, so we'll switch over to the Armor tire cleaner. See how that works on these sidewalls. Immediately turning brown, and the wheel cleaner immediately has orange streaking from the ferrous metal. So let's find a brush here. Tire brush first. These white walls, nice white. Okay, wheel brush. Let's just use an old detailing brush for wheels. I do want to source some proper hubcaps for this old thing. Anybody in the comment section point me in the right direction, I would be very appreciative. That should do it. Oh yeah, nice and clean. Let me take care of the other side and we'll get to the paint and the rest of the front end here. Wheels are clean. Let's wash. Well, what's left of it anyway. By the way, when we walked over to the wall to show you where I wanted to place this, those boxes, the two boxes, are two grids, 8 by 15 or 8 by 16 of hex lights from Hex Garage. If you want me to get some footage putting those together and the results, yeah, I could be wrong. I believe I read somewhere around 65,000 lumens. If you want to see the unboxing and putting it together, hooking them up, and the results, and if they helped us here at this shop, we're going to, of course, suspend them from the ceiling and the first two bays here. If you want to see that, let me know down in the comments section. You know, clickety-clack down in the comment. There he goes with that old typewriter again. Get with the times, old man. Yeah, we don't want to go crazy with the correction. Again, in 1963, the cars weren't running around in the mirror-like shape that they are today. So we're going to keep it time period correct, so to speak. Okay, let's rinse. That's enough. Okay, looking at it wet gives a little tease of what it could look like all shined up. I will be pleased. Let me dry it off and we'll get to the next step. Okay, let me dry this off. Or while we're drying that off, I wouldn't mind asking if you guys are into football, the NFL, American football. Let me know down in the comments section what your favorite team is. We are approaching the playoff. At the time of this video, there's only 2 games left of the regular season. I am a Dolphins fan. Don't hold it against me. Grew up watching Marino, and I'm very loyal, so it just stuck. And have been disappointed for years and years and years and years since then. Big game coming up against the Ravens. Excellent defense, excellent pass rushers. Gonna have to pull some guards to fill in the A-gap. I do know about football. I played midgets, mites through junior year of higher education until the ligaments could not take any more. Knees, hips, shoulders. But yeah, Tua needs to get the ball out quickly. He's on average right now getting it out within 2.1 seconds with the rest of the league. He's throwing the ball rather quickly and needs to continue if he doesn't want to get plastered and laid out on the turf or the natural field in Baltimore. Okay, yeah, this is going to be good. The next thing we want to do, this was laying in a salvage yard with lots of trees. Let's remove the sap next. Sap buildup all over the place. I have something in mind for that. Let's go get it. For overspray, tar, pine sap, and many other applications, Citral 266 is excellent. This, guys, can be picked up locally from ag centers, anywhere they work on tractors or diesel motors, heavy equipment. They know what's good, and they have this around. You can buy this by the single can or by the case. Expensive either way. To me, well worth it. An excellent working product for many applications. Just spray the sap. Let it dwell for just a few minutes. This can be done on painted surfaces, plastic trim, headlights, taillights, vinyl. Just be sure to flush the area with a rinseless wash or just wash the vehicle afterwards. Do not let the product dwell on the surface, whatever surface it may be that you're treating, and let it dry and work its way into the material. That wouldn't be a good thing. After a few minutes of dwell time, you just come in, slowly massage the area, and it's gone. And we'll just continue this all the way around till we remove all of the pine sap. By the way, if you ever want to know if a surface is single stage or clear, they started to transition from just single stage paints to clear coat and multi levels, multi paint schemes with the primer base coat clear coat is to just rub on the paint. And you can use a polish, put a little bit of a polish. And if you get any type of residue or transfer onto your towel that is the same color as the surface, it's one of two things. It's either a single stage or a clear coat that has been tinted. If you have heavy transfer onto your towel or your pad when you start to polish, it's single stage. If you have just a light pink color coming from a vehicle that would be this shade, then it's more than likely just a tinted clear. Okay, we have the pine sap off and it's clean. Now, there are going to be some steps that are a little out of order compared to the way I would normally do things on a vehicle that we're correcting for real. And there may be some steps left out because we just want to clean this up and, you know, make it look, have a little bit of a sheen to it. Make it look respectable and fun to have in a shop as a toolbox. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to skip over, no need to do any wet sanding. I will take some measurements just out of curiosity to see how much of the single stage we have to work with. And then also, we'll get out the paint depth gauge and see how deep it is. So let's do that next before we go any further. Paint depth gauge and a gloss meter gauge just out of curiosity. Six mils, and I'll bring you in close and show you the measurements around. 6 to 7 mils, that's actually pretty decent from all the weathering and wear and tear that this vehicle has been through. There is plenty to work with. If this was a vehicle that was to be restored and it was whole, you would have plenty to work with to get it looking good. Show you these measurements, and there's going to be some areas that are really neat where you see it spike from these measurements all the way up to '18, or in this case over here, $49.2. Just a little bit of filler here and there, and you can definitely see that in areas. Over here you can see it has really been worked over at one time. Maybe 26 or 27 too many Yingling lagers and kind of went off the road in a direction or two. Not advised, but possible. Okay, so let's get some gloss meter measurements as well. Away with the paint depth gauge. By the way, both of these you can pick up on Amazon for a reasonable price. They're both great to have, either just working on your own stuff in your driveway or as an enthusiast, or if you do this for a living. It's always great to start off and show the customer the numbers of where you're beginning and where you've ended. So you put a little bit of, you put some numbers behind what they are seeing. Keep them fully charged and calibrate them often to get the most out of them. I'm going to guess this is going to be 70s, mid 70s. Oh, not even. We are in the 50s. So this is going to be fun and a lot of room for improvement. Okay, so that's where we are beginning, and we'll go ahead and take those measurements when we're finished as well. Okay, finally time for the paint correction, which I've been really looking forward to. So the plan of attack is, we're going to come up with one right now. We're going to cut with the Rotary, one of my favorite tools, and we'll use the Chevy H9. We'll finish up with the DA to clean things up a little, get even more gloss before we put some protection on. And yes, even though this is going to stay inside, it'll be exposed to chemicals, moisture, because we do PPF in here, and some airborne contaminants. So we're going to protect it and preserve it so it's around for as long as we are here at the shop, and it's definitely going to outlast us. So we'll start with the Rotary wool pad, finish up with the DeWalt and a fine finish pad, H9 to M3. Then we're going to clean up the chrome and the stainless and whatever else we have on here that isn't paint, and get these lights working. Clean out the inside, of course. We are going to lubricate the hinges for the hood here and also the latch, and get it in its place, set it in its place. And we do have scheduled for next week the artist coming in to do the render of the windshield and the shop manager or something like it, hanging out the window, maybe somebody waving out the window, almost like the vehicle's driving through the wall into the shop. So it'll really be neat. Just a fun little accent to put in the shop to make it comfortable and fun to work in. Let's get to it. Old microfibers, second or third tier pads if you have them laying around, because you will get a ton of transfer of the single stage back up onto your pads. You need to clean them out often so they stay effective during the correction process. And I'm going to throw them away immediately after both the towels and the pads because of that transfer. Oh, way too much. Just the way I like it. Spread this out a little bit. Turn it on low, we'll spread it out. Once it's spread out, we'll kick it into the gear we like. I like my polisher between the 3rd and the 4th speed setting. And let's do a little section, see how it turns out. This is just the cutting process, so it will get better after the 2nd step as well. By the way, for those that want to learn the Rotary, which to me, and this is subjective, to me, the Rotary cuts and finishes better than any polisher available. You want to keep it flat as often as possible, but when it comes to contours and edges, you'll always see me turn on a little bit of a tilt, anywhere from 15 to 25 degrees. And that is to not only keep the smooth ride across the panel and the shape of the car, but the pad also is tilted to get in some of these areas to dig in there. So as I mentioned before, there is going to be a ton of transfer. These will have to be cleaned between every single pass to keep it effective because it's matted down. The fibers are just matted down, stuck together, and not effective right now. And then they'll get thrown away at the end. So let's wipe off and see the progress we have made so far. So before we even wipe off, we have crow's feet, we have bubbling, we have deep scratches and gouges that we're not going to go after. We're just looking to make this thing look neat from about 3 to 5 feet away and further at the shop. Once again, they weren't driven around in the 60s looking like a mirror, but I can tell you single stage really comes out nice. It can be worked for long periods of time, and sometimes it's, again, another subjective observation, but I believe sometimes single stage can come out better looking and more glossy and have more depth than clear coat. Look at that. Let me grab you guys and bring you in closer. And this is just after the cutting process. It has to be finished yet. Look at that gloss. Again, you have the crow's feet. That's cracking in the drying of 40, 50. I don't know if it's been resprayed. probably 20 times by now, but who knows how old the paint is. Bubbling here, but compared to the way it looked up here to now right here, I will personally like it when it's done. Let me continue on, then we'll get to the second stage. Well, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Let me finish the second stage here on this little section where we cut, and we'll take a measurement just to give us an idea of the jump in gloss that we're going to get. Let's get to it. So step number 2, we'll jump to a dual action polisher and switch over to M302, which is a finishing polish with a finer abrasive. And it's just going to clean things up a bit and make things just a little bit more glossy for those that have the eyes to see it. For some, you could just do this step and be happy with it. These pads are going to be thrown away. And you're going to see the transfer we have on this pad as well. That has to be cleaned off often. Oh yeah. Yes, that's the desired look I was in search of for this finish. Let's get the instruments and get some measurements on gloss. First, let's just take a look. A little bit of an improvement. Okay, so we're going from 60 to 95 on the gloss meter. Yeah, that's definitely an improvement. Okay, so let me continue on with the cutting and finishing process, and I'll get back to you. All right, guys, paint is done. I was out cruising it, showing everybody how good it looks. Let me pull over and let you see how it looks. Or more, maybe it sounds like. Let me know down in the comment section. Where's the handbrake in this thing? Okay, guys, the paint is corrected. Even down here. I think it looks good. What do you guys think? Not perfect, as it wouldn't be in the 60s. I'm going to leave all this stuff. I'm going to leave this as patina, and we're going to seal it up. Before we seal it, let's clean up this metal and chrome and seal it all as one. All right, since this thing will never see the outside again, it's safe to do what I'm going to do here. Otherwise, I would use a completely different method, which I can cover in another video, no problem. But for something that's going to be sealed and kept inside, I have an SOS pad that's been soaking, and I'm going to combine that with the Extreme Solutions Medallion metal cleaner and polish. And we are going to make the two a team here and make quick work of this old, tired chrome and metal. So I like to spread it out on a section I'm going to be working on and kind of let it do its thing. And this chrome and this metal, it's all going to be pitted. It all should be replated. We are not doing that. We're just cleaning it up a little bit, and then we're going to seal it. So let me do this section, even underneath here. I'll wipe it off and show you the little bit of improvement that we've made. Let me grab a rag and a back, and you want your old B or C tier towels, obviously, because they're going to get boogered up a little bit. Keep wiping and flipping over. And this is going to look pretty good, guys. All right, let me show you. I think you can already see, but not perfect. We don't want it to be. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to continue on and do all the metal, chrome, and stainless on this. And I'll get back to you. Okay, good friends, we have cleaned up the metal just a bit. Looks even better. Now let's seal everything and protect it as one. Okay, lads and ladettes, it's getting a little long on the day here, so let's get this protected. When it comes to single stage, I prefer a sealant or a wax, T1 Carnauba preferably, to protect. Single stage is very absorbent with a ceramic coating. It's a little difficult to get nice and even coverage and looking even instead of blotchy from the single stage wicking it in or soaking in the coating, so many layers may be needed sometimes. You get a nice even layer and some great gloss out of a polymer sealant or a good wax. And today we're going to use the Geon Q2 wax. Let's get to it. Just going to get some product on the applicator pad. It's like a speed stick applicator here, and it doesn't care how you get it on the surface. Crisscross patterns, circles, the product doesn't care. Just make sure you have even coverage, and it's going to come out looking great. Being this will be something that's always going to be indoors, it's going to be more than enough, more than sufficient to protect this and keep it looking good. Maybe I'll put a layer or two on every once in a while, or test other sealants and waxes that show up or come through the door or that I might order. And this would be our canvas since it's already corrected. Okay, so I'm just going to continue on. I'll apply it to everything, let it haze over slightly like a wax or a polymer sealant would, and then just wipe off. It's as simple as that. All glossed up and, well, pretty much protected more than it would ever need to be sitting inside where it's going to be sitting. The cherry on top, and then we can get to, we'll pop the hood, get to the inside there, clean things out, figure a way to get to the inside of all of these lights so we can get them to light up, figure a way to light them up, and yeah, we're progressing along nicely with this little project. So let's get the cherry on top. Again, if anybody has any ideas for hubcaps for the 63, shoot it down in the comments section and I'll look into it. This here is the 3D SiO2 ceramic matte tire, the GLW series. So this is the new enthusiast series. I like the look of this stuff. Just cleans it up, gives it a nice clean new rubber look to your tires. There we go. The next thing I want to do is open this up, clean things out a bit, lubricate the latches and the lock here, the latch for the hood itself, the key contraption. And then once we get everything cleaned out, we're going to see how it looks. This was recently, and by recently, maybe within the last 10-15 years, sprayed with that, that liner, rough liner spray, bed spray. I may change my mind and line it with something else, but this is really going to, for me, this is going to be storage for our paint protection film tools. So I'm going to line it with something and then lay our tools in there. You can line it with plastic, get a drain down at the bottom, and this can be your storage. Fill it with ice after it's lined, and it can hold your soda pop, any cold beverage, cold snack. It would be fantastic. Seal runs all the way along, so it would seal in the cool air. It would be pretty decent. So let's get this cleaned out. We'll start with a bezel that's in decent shape for this year. Now the only difference is our bezels have black here. So, and then we have headlight frames. So we'll get these out. Vac it thoroughly is going to be the next step. See what we have. So the next thing I'm doing before I go any further, because we're going to create a little bit more dirt back here, is get access to the back of all these lights, the parking lights, driving lights, headlights. And I'm going to head out right now and pick up, it's after Christmas now, so the larger Christmas light bulbs should be easy to find. We'll run the cord right out a hole here in the firewall, so we can either plug in or hook up to a switch and light this thing up. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have this thing skidooshed on over to its final resting place. So we will continue to figure out how to get these things lit up, line it, and then like I said, in the future I'm going to have somebody that knows what they're doing paint a windshield and maybe a dog hanging out of that window, somebody waving, maybe the blocks flying like it's coming through the wall, just something cool. But for now, let's get these lights going. Well, we got the parking lights to light up. Chaps and chapettes, how did we do that? This high-tech system we have going on here. Christmas lights left over and on sale at the local store. We're just pulling things to get to the back of these lights, shoving them in there. Then we're going to line this up. I'm going to take care of that area here. Don't want that to progress any further with rust. So we will line that and start using it as our toolbox. But we do have parking lights now. Got to get the blinkers working. Need more blinker fluid. And we now have headlights in addition to the parking lights there, folks. Only the low beams, no need to have high beams blinding everybody coming the other way. Safety first. What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section. I do want to get these lights blinking. They're all part of one strand. And of course, you know, once one goes out, they all go out. So I'm not pushing my luck, but I would like to get those two blinking, maybe a separate strand that blink, but pretty cool. Let's finish it up. We're almost there. And the last thing I want to do is line this area. Putting our PPF tools in there, they're going to have a little bit of moisture on them. So I don't want that moisture getting in contact with the inner workings of the frunk here. So let's line it and keep those areas protected from moisture. Doesn't have to be overly complicated. That will work. For what we're going to use it for, that will work. Time to load it up with our whatever tools we want to keep in here, or maybe pack it with ice and get some nice icy cold beverages in there. Just make sure you have a drain and you have it over a drain, so when the ice melts, it can just drain right out. There is a drain down there somewhere. It can drain right out of the compartment, and you know, when you're done, completely empty, waiting for the next round. The cord for the lights, I'll use ties and hide those. Get some hubcaps on there, the proper hubcaps, and I will get some footage. I'll get some footage of the finished product in either the next video or the video after, where we put together the hex lights and install the hex lights. Those are going to go over and be suspended from the first two bays, so we can get rid of these tents, so it's nice and open but bright with, you know, 65,000 lumens as advertised. And that'll be some of the, or one of the upcoming videos. We'll give an update on the shop as well. That's coming along nicely. Until then, guys, thanks for spending some time with me. I always enjoy spending an afternoon with you. Let me know what you think of the project down in the comment section. Love you all. Catch you later.